Okay, I've clicked start streaming. Am I streaming? I am streaming. Um,
How do you know?
because in YouTube it's saying I'm live. 4, 5, 6 seconds. So what is my URL? Like if you were to go to I know I'm pretty sure I'm streaming at this moment. It's
Okay. Which
crazy. Like right now, I know that's what I'm trying to figure out. Stream health is orange. Why is it orange? Okay, viewers. It says okay, viewers may be experiencing minor issues. So I don't know what that means. Go live. Are you ready to go live? Anytime you send content, you're live. Okay, it's very obvious. I
what's your username there?
well,
Oh,
it's
it says I found you right. It's you are live.
yeah. Can you see? Oh wait, so
Live
you're
now.
so you're probably seeing the YouTube screen, right? If I were to go here,
Yeah.
like, are you now seeing me? You to the?
Yes.
Isn't that awesome?
I'm
Okay.
getting some feedback too. Hold on. Let me mute the now I see myself. Oh, this is weird. Oh, it's behind a few seconds.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
okay. That's
What's
okay.
the quality like?
It's good.
But I don't see your face, right?
Where am I? Why don't you see my face?
I don't
Oh,
know.
that's weird.
It's
Okay, that
because I'm
was
only showing half the. So
yeah.
in order to get it side by side, I had it's like it's cropping your whole video view.
There you go.
Yeah. So now you
That's
could be in
weird.
the screen, and now I can see you. I kind of see me on my right. I don't know what it
Okay.
actually looks like in the video. Uh, so how did you find me? What link? You
Um.
know what? You know what I'm gonna do? This is crazy. I'm gonna go into my phone.
Uh-huh. I went to YouTube, and you were listed as a friend, and it had the little live thing next to me.
Yeah. So it says live.
Space. Yep.
Oh my gosh. All right, all right. This is a little
Okay. Okay. Okay.
too. I don't know
It's a
what the
little weird,
word
right?
is. I don't know what the word is. I want to share this with all my kids. I'm gonna copy the link. I'm
What
gonna
happened?
I'm gonna send the text message. Hey, if you're ready to start the show,
I don't even know what we're gonna talk about, man.
we're gonna talk about failure. You said, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what's really cool is that I'll be able to, when this is done, I'll be able to download this video and edit it, right? So I'll just kind of chop off the beginning, chop off the end, right? And then we'll have like we'll have our first podcast, like whatever video cast. But I see people do this all the time, right? Like I love to watch streamers stream and stuff, so it's kind of neat. Now, what I hate is that I can't just show the Skype window, right? I have to kind of be showing my
Yeah.
whole desktop, but that's all right. It's fun.
I
Do you
don't
do you want to publish the link in Slack to see if anybody
know.
wants to? No, why not?
I don't even. I'm like now really hyper. Um. I don't know what the word is.
It's
I don't like.
weird, right?
What's that?
It's weird. It's
It's
like
weird. But
right
see, your house
now,
is like nice
but
and clean. It got all this garbage
why are
behind
you
it.
so dark again? Like why do you what's
I don't
going
know.
on?
It's my. I live in my office is in the basement. So this is what I have. I have this little window and this little window, and that's it. That's all I have. And lamps. It is a dungeon. So you have to wait till I buy a new house.
So like most so I consume a lot
It's
of
crazy.
content, right?
Hmm.
And I look at what some of the other people are creating and I say, wow, some of that stuff looks really, really good. And so in my mind, I'm like, what are the bits and pieces that I like? And, I think the first time we tried to do the podcast, I really tried to be heavy production, right? But lately, I've been listening to this show called The Joe Rogan Experience, and I just love the way they do it. I mean, they have some production to it. Obviously, it's a very high quality show, but when they start, like it's always Joe Rogan interviewing someone, right? And when they start, they just jump in. Like he literally is like 3, 2, 1. It's like hello, and they jump right in. I don't know how much of the agenda they have pre-calculated or not, but man, they talk for like 3 hours. I mean, these are 3 hour shows. Um, so obviously, I can't listen to every minute of every show. It's just it's too much. It's an avalanche of content. Um, but I was thinking that's the way we would start, right? So I said we should start at noon or 10 a.m. Mountain. Uh, so it's 6 minutes from now. So I say, why don't we take the next 6 minutes? I mean, we're on a countdown now, right? Let's take the next 6 minutes to figure out what we want to talk about, uh, and then go from there. Um, I had this great link, but I don't have it anymore. I want to be careful what I'm showing my desktop, so I'm gonna close my work browser, and I'm gonna okay. So now I'm showing my YouTube Live. I had a problem. Oh, by the way, like so I right now I'm broadcasting my whole desktop, right?
Yep.
So like you're gone. Well, you're not gone. You're in this beautiful corner here, which is what Skype
Yeah.
does. Um, uh, but apparently I have to download like the desktop version of Skype. I can't use the Windows Store version of Skype for it to work properly.
Okay.
Um, so I don't know. I'll try that. Although, we're still here, right? So if
Yeah.
you really want to get trippy, I don't know if you have on a separate window like our stream.
Right. I do.
There's a little bit of delay, but you're about to see what the broadcasting software looks like.
Okay.
And then you'll see what I was talking about, kind of like how there's like an infinite down into the middle.
That's
And
what
if
you meant by OBS.
yes, open broadcasting software, yes.
Is that cross-platform?
Yeah. OBS should. I don't know if there's a version for Linux. It would surprise me if there weren't. There is a version on Mac. There's a version on Windows. And it's pretty cool. Man, the last time we were doing the podcast, right, we had like this huge mic and this huge thing. It was hilarious, right?
I still have that
Uh,
mic. It's over there.
oh, that's so funny. You know what I think I could do?
Yeah,
Could
there it is.
I
OBS Studio.
could I could I crop? I think I can only resize. Yeah, I can only scale. I can't crop. I can't crop. And do I have another option here? I can capture a browser, it says, a color source, can capture a monitor. I mean, I only have one monitor, and maybe
Hmm.
that's the solution. Maybe I should have like a virtual monitor that probably exists where you can drag things on and then you only see it through tools like these. And capture a game, an image, a media source. Is Skype a media? Scenes are other scenes. So this is what I was saying. Like it's got all this really cool. Well, I don't have other scenes that are interesting. It's got other scenes that you can switch and it'll fade, and so you can change. Like so, in my mind, I was thinking, yeah, we're gonna have the major window, which is this one, right? Which is us talking, and then if I wanted to switch to some content that we wanted to discuss or talk about, I can switch to the browser. Um, but I would not do that the way I'm doing it now is I'm just switching windows, right? Because I'm showing my whole screen. But in OBS, you can set up scenes with different kind of things. So for example, I could shrink the Skype window and I could show the browser window and they could kind of like be on the display, but in different. So you really add this production quality to it that goes beyond what you could do with just resizing windows and things like that. Um, so I find that very
Interesting.
interesting. But so if I go to media source, it just says create new, and I can try and create a new one. It says local file. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably just trying to, yeah. If I wanted to show like a video that I had on my screen or something like that, that's probably what that's good for. But yeah, Skype's here, but it's useless. If I were to mute the display, you see nothing. In Skype,
Hmm.
this isn't captured. Uh,
So
window, but I don't know.
it just went dark.
Yeah, it did because I took away the display and I
Oh,
tried to
okay.
show Skype, but it doesn't show Skype, which is why you see black. So,
So I just installed it for Linux. It's version 22.0.3. I don't know if it matches what you're running. You're on 2.1. Okay, so I'm just a little bit ahead. But it has something I was looking for while we were talking, when that's mic level for audio levels.
We're getting close to going live here.
We are live.
What's
I'm
the
still watching
countdown?
myself.
No, but I mean, like, what's the countdown? I need a countdown. What's the official time? Let me ask
Let's make it 10.
let me
Yeah, make
ask
it
my
10.
iPad here.
9:59. 9:59 right now.
Official. Yeah, but I want like an official clock, like on a website or something. Okay, cool. So we're about 20 seconds to go live. Then we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a 30-minute show, Luis. We're gonna see how this goes.
Let's see how it goes.
Stretch, get ready. Oh, it's live, and I'm showing my armpit stains. Oh God.
Yeah.
I need I need some
Compared to Miami, it looks like
assistance.
I'm sitting in a Russian cabin or something. I had this little sock on to cover my crease.
All right, guy. All right, we're gonna go live in 3, 2, 1. Hey, Luis, how you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
10 o'clock in
It's
Denver.
it's 10 o'clock in Denver.
It's now
high
officially
noon
good
in
afternoon
Miami.
in Miami.
Yeah.
So we're
How do I
firing.
look? Do I look like I just crawled out of bed?
You look like you were just wearing a hat.
I was just wearing
And
a hat.
and like you may have just been sweating in that hat. Like if you were wearing like a beanie or something, and then you were like sweating profusely under that beanie.
Not quite. Not
And
quite.
then
I was
you
wearing.
took off the beanie, and then now you see what you see.
Right.
So today we're going to talk about failure. Yes.
We're going to talk about failure.
We don't really have a well-mapped agenda or topic, but we're gonna do this for 30 minutes, and we're gonna see what we come up with, right?
Yeah,
I think
we're going to fail at this first podcast.
You were more so. That's the whole question of failure is interesting, right? Do you have that link?
Yes.
What's that link that we were going to?
I do have that.
It was from New Zealand. Yeah, best quotes on success and failure. Yeah, so I was thinking, why don't we? I don't know if you got a chance to review this, but I was thinking, why don't we talk about some of the things that are in here?
Right.
But even before we get into that, like, just tell me a little bit. What were you thinking in terms of, like, failure? When you say you wanted to talk about failure, like, what were you thinking? Was it a series of conversations? Was it to drill in specific things?
It was a series of conversations to talk about personal failure, professional failure, what we learned from it. Is it a good or bad thing? Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we start there at the top then?
Yes,
so,
I have the.
is failure a good or bad thing? Like, how do you even start judging that?
Do you have the? Can you share the website on the stream so we can share the screens, or
Yeah.
how do you want to do that?
Yeah.
I guess we can put it in the notes.
I've got it here. You know what I could do? Can I close this preview? I can. What I can do is, let me put this on the side.
I see it. Yeah, look at that.
All right, cool. So now we're on the screen. We're showing we've got the thing. Okay, so this article was pretty cool. Maybe we could list it in the. There's actually like a whole live chat concept as well as part of these streams. So when people are watching, they can say things in the chat, and then you could be listening, and it starts becoming interactive. I believe if you replay a live stream, you see the chat as it comes up, and people can interact with the chat. So for example, I just put the link that we're going to discuss here. Yeah, exactly. In the chat, and then later on, as people are viewing this, I don't know how much you want to share, but you can replay, and you can look at the things we're seeing. So it's so cool, right? It's such a different way to kind of think about it. So 12 questions, best quotes on success and failure. I looked this up really quick, just kind of Googling the topic you wanted to talk about. I mean, even in having other conversations, I think it was when we were talking about like salaries and, uh, we started ourselves talking about like achievement or success. What does success look like? And a lot of people kind of they say success is the opposite of failure, right? Um, and maybe that's just factually what it is. So but it's really interesting. Um, so yeah, so the first, so there's a list of 12. We can go through these and see how we go. Okay, so the first is Jogyada Dallas, meditation teacher. Have you ever heard of this person before?
I have not. I was wondering how to pronounce his first name actually.
I just went for it. I just
You
I
just went
just
for
said
it. Jogyata. I like it.
Jogyada.
It's Jogyata. So
That's it's it, I could it could be Jogyada. It could be Jogyada. I don't know.
Hogyata.
That
Hogyata.
Hogyata. It could be something. And so they asked this meditating, when have you failed? I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, but Sri Chinmoy always taught us that the past is dust and to only see what we call our failings as simply experiences that prepare us for a brighter future. Uh, we're evolving, and these stumblings and failings are the preparation for tomorrow's dawn. Eh, kind of soft. So when have you failed? Or I can answer first if you want me to set the tone.
However you want to do it. I have a failure for sure.
Go. I'd have to think of one.
I never finished college,
Okay.
and both my parents are doctorates, so it weighs heavy on the mind quite often.
Okay. Why do you
Now you
think that's a
can,
failure?
uh, well, it's not completing something, right? That you tried something and you didn't complete it, right? And I know there's a lot of great examples of people who have left college, never officially finished university, and gone on to great success. But I don't. I'm not sure I fall into that community, right? Certainly not a Bill Gates. I'm certainly not Scott McNeely or other likes.
Okay. Do you feel like you've learned from it? Like, do you like what would learning from it even look like?
Well, I've learned how to self-learn, right? I think that was the biggest lesson out of failing at university. That um, you don't need an institution to continue growth, and I think we see that a lot in our careers, where the technology and the information that we're expected to be experts at changes so fast. We're continually learning. I'm doing two or three different self-paced courses now um, that could apply to a professional career, but it's also because I'm interested in it. So I think that's the biggest thing that I took from not succeeding.
That it's great that you can even think about it, right? That you can even
Yeah.
think about it in those terms. Because I think that's part of, like what I always tell my kids is, okay, so you've stumbled, right? Stumbling has a consequence to it, and that consequence is unforgiving, right? Unforgiving circumstances. In in the case of my child, it might be scraping a knee. In the case of you, it's, well, you don't have a college. In order for you to have a college degree, you need to go back and finish. Like, there's no
Right.
that's why I call it
Definitely.
unforgiving circumstances. Um,
Hmm.
but that doesn't, you know, like then I tell them that, okay, so that's happened, and you've got this consequence. Uh, is that all it has to be, or can it be more? Can you learn from the experience? Can you apply that? Um, and it's really interesting. I think my range of emotions is very wide and dynamic. I can be really upset 1 second, and I could just let it go and be fine the next. But of course, like I could be like a wave of, I can bring people along with me on that, and they don't quite have the same ability, right? So I have to deal, and like, I don't know, I could pick from so many failures, and I don't mean to say that, like, I don't mean to sound like, oh, this guy, it's just he's a walking failure. But there's different levels too, right? There's the macro level failures, like I did not finish college. I mean, that's a big, I would equate that with, I got a divorce, so my marriage failed. It's kind of just these kind of big macro level things.
Hmm.
But like for example, yesterday, I lost my cool at the breakfast table, and I slammed my fist at because one of my daughters wanted a donut that another one had, and and of course, the moments that lead up to those situations, those don't happen in isolation, right? There's a lot of other things going on that are kind of heating me up. And in this particular case, it was just some sibling rivalry and some resource contention. I got a new iPad, so now the old iPad, an Apple Pencil has become a resource that the kids use, and then they fight over it, and it'll and for me it gets upsetting because it just feels like no matter how much you do, it doesn't satisfy, it doesn't make them happy, uh, which is frustrating because as a parent, that's what you want to do. And then on the other hand, a lot of the things that happen, um, you want to see that last a little bit, right? Kind of like that joy. Um, so I make a lot of so that's for me that's a perpetual failure of just controlling my emotions. Um,
Mm.
and I do a lot of like yeah, it sucks, and I have to deal with that. It's a huge weakness of mine. But being aware of it is good, and I try to look back, and for me the learning experience is always um, like what I try to ask deeper questions, right? So usually what happens or the quote unquote failure is like superficial things. So there's deeper layers there of like, why am I so upset, or why is this bubbling up this way? If I try and get to not root cause, what are we calling it now in DevOps? Uh,
Post incident review.
right. So I try to do those post incident reviews so that I can acknowledge and see the points where I can work on the things. There you go. Can work on the things that then can prevent that in the future. So, okay. So let's go to the next one. Sean James Donnelly, musician. What is achievement to you? They say that they find the idea of achievement to be quite quicksilver.
I'm not
Are
even
these?
sure that I know what that means.
I was gonna like. This is a Kiwi website. It's a New Zealand website. So
Right, so it's Quicksilver, akin to Fool's Gold. Fool's Gold.
let's see. Of course, I get Capital One. Oh, I'm not going to get anywhere with that. No sooner do you think that you've really achieved something special than the goalposts have suddenly moved. And this is a little bit of like what I was just talking about, right?
Hmm.
Which is, like there's like this lack of satisfaction, right? Like you never arrive. You're on this constant, perpetual journey. Uh, who moved them? I don't know. Was it my opinionated friends? Was it my enemies? Or did I move them myself? Um, so what is achievement to you?
Oh, that's a good one. I think achievement is when you see the results that you intended, or maybe you just see impact. You know, because sometimes you do win unintentionally.
Yeah. To me, I think it's as simple as so achievement and success are not really the same thing, right? So to me, achievement means you've defined something that you're chasing, right? It could be a challenge, it could whatever it is, and then once you've attained it, well, then you've achieved it. It's a very relative thing, right? The achievement could be something minor. Imagine somebody that's completely sedentary, doesn't exercise, right? So for them, the goal might be, let me try and go a month where I'm exercising twice a week, even if it's just for 10 minutes, right? If you've done that, then you've achieved it. You've accomplished it, right? Whatever. So I think achievement goes with very clear goals or very well-defined goals. Uh, uh, Sean James Donnelly probably didn't have many well-defined goals. I don't know if he felt that his goalposts kept moving. Um, I think it's okay to have different levels of it too, right? Or different outputs for something, right? So maybe the achievement is I want to lower my cholesterol, right? And you think about the steps to get there, and then once you get there, you've achieved it. Um, but then what happens when your cholesterol goes up again? Weight control, that's a big one in my life, right? I've probably
Right.
gone up and down a couple times since I've met you. Um,
Yeah, me too. I
and it,
actually had that as my second. When have you failed? That's a constant failure. Is weight.
yeah, well, but that's the thing, right? It's like achieving something is also very, like what? How to articulate it? Like it happens, and then that's it, right? It's like a moment in time where something is true, and once you've achieved it, that moment happens and it's done, right? Uh, I aim to climb to the peak of Everest, right? And then once you've done it, great, you've done it. And you can hang out there as long as you like. You can come back down. Uh, but that's it, right? The achievement, you don't, I guess I think what I'm kind of trying to articulate is that you can't decouple the achievement from the journey. They kind of go hand in hand. So you kind of got to walk the journey, then accomplish the thing, and then all together that's the achievement. Because once you're there, it's done, right? So I don't know. All right,
It's good.
let's go to the next one. Murray Gray, founder of the Going West Book Festival. When have you been at your lowest, and then how did you pull yourself out? Mary Gray, always the eternal optimist here, says there is no lowest, just an eternal cycle of success and failure and the recognition that life has been such a ball. There's always someone who needs you to be strong and caring, and there's no choice but to question, consider, and love, regardless of what crap you experience. Interesting. I don't know. To me, this is a dodge. She
It is.
dodged
Yeah.
the question. Um, but this could be a deeply intimate question, right? Like we're kind of recording this or broadcasting this, and like, do I really want to say on this show what has been my lowest? So maybe we don't ask ourselves that question unless you want to talk about it. Um, but I still think we can talk about this, right? Just in general, it's like, how do you, with failure comes an emotion, right? And that emotion could be one of like, man, so there's the consequences of failure, but then there's how you feel about it. And then the question is just pointing to, obviously, in that rut, failure could beget more failure, right? So how do you kind of stop the cycle? How do you say, okay, enough's enough, I'm going to redirect? I think weight, not to keep kind of going on that point, but this might be a really good one, right? Because you're doing great, you're doing great, you're doing great. Suddenly you gain a little weight, you're like, oh my God, what happened? Right? And I can tell you, with me personally, the way that goes is uh, you start thinking you're invincible. You
Right.
start thinking it's impossible to regain the weight.
Right.
So, oh, I gained a little weight. That's fine. I know how to lose it. I've lost 70 pounds. I can lose another 10. And then another week goes by and you just gained another pound. What's going, and it's like all these things that happen in the micro and you're blind to them. Before you know it, you're not 20 pounds or 40 pounds away. You're 60. Oh wait, what happened to those 70 I lost? It's all gone. You're just back at the beginning. Um, and I don't know the answer to this. At least when it concerns personal health. Um, but I can tell you, and you and I share in a bit of adversity in terms of our profession. Just in terms of the challenges that we face day to day in being colleagues. One of the things that the latest circumstances really forced me to think about is, I really need to refocus on my health. I really need to refocus on my wellness. I need to make it a priority. I can tell you that, back in January, February of this year, we had such heavy things to deal with that, in my mind, it literally
Yeah, we
became
did.
you know what? I don't have the energy to think about being healthy. Like I just don't. I need to just survive the situation, which is sort of ironic because if you think about it, nothing is more important than your health. Like if you die, you're useless. You're useless to yourself, to your family,
Right.
to your colleagues. And yet that's the level that we're talking about, right?
right. It's funny too because the type of work that we do, we speak a lot about technical debt and making sure that we're working on the most important things. So in the future, we don't, for example, deploy a piece of software that ends up costing us so much more in operations hours. Right? We talk a lot about that. And health, to me, is one of those ultimate technical debt situations where what we do today, if we don't do it mindfully in the future, it's so much harder to get rid of. It's so easy to gain weight. It's very difficult to lose weight and get back into the stream of biking all the time or going to the gym, right? It's that first hump, and it's so difficult to apply personally because we, at least for me, we push it aside, push that realization aside often.
So I can tell you from personal experience, I'm taking it more seriously again. Suddenly, like for the first time this morning, the Apple Watch alerted me to an achievement. Right, I had done 7 workouts in 7 days. Now
Nice
I haven't
job.
had time. Thank you. Now I haven't had the time to go back and see when was the last time that even happened in my life. When was the last time I actually
Right.
did? And I say workouts. I mean, and I don't want to diminish the achievement,
Yeah.
if you want to call it that. But I just every morning I went out and walked for 30 minutes. That's all. Uh,
That's good.
it's uh, it's not terribly difficult, but the consistency is what's hard. I've
Right.
been waking up at 5 a.m. to do it, at least during the week. The weekend, Saturday, yesterday, and today, I woke up at a more reasonable 6 o'clock, 6:15. But during the week, I'm gonna wake up at 5 again. Downside, of course, is that you're dead in the evenings. I mean, I'm not joking when I was telling you that last night I was falling asleep at 8 p.m. I was. We got this new couch and it's awesome, and it's got a chase on it, and I'm just like lounging on the chase. And Bettina gets home with the kids. She took them to the movie, and she's like, "Wake up! You've fallen asleep." Um, so but I can't tell you what the trigger is. I can't tell you what is the thing that got me out of that rut. Because even back in September, I had a few health scares that ended up being just that, scares, nothing seriously wrong. But even that, even there was still a delay in action. And now it's towards the end of November, and so I don't know what the trigger is. Um, I don't know how you get yourself out of it. I think in a lot of ways I don't know that you can. You just got to try a little every day, and then one
Right.
day it'll just be a little easier. I don't know.
I think that's it. I think you just have to, um, for lack of a better term, force yourself for the first 3 times. Just force it until the habit becomes natural for exercise.
Yeah.
I too this week I was proud of myself talking about minor achievements. I went to 3 Orange Theory fitness classes in a row, not back to back, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
I didn't go 3 back to back. That would be
That would be a
incredibly
little
difficult.
tough.
That would be extreme. Yeah, and there's probably people in my class who do a few classes a day. Would be unlimited. I was proud of myself, even though I don't have as many splat points. If you're familiar with Orange Theory, as some of the other people in my class. But,
I was telling you earlier that I listened to the Joe Rogan Experience.
yeah.
Joe Rogan was talking about how he got, I forget what the exact thing was, but he got something like, I mean, you know the point system, so you're more familiar
Mhm.
with this. But like in a week, he got like 10,000 points or something like that. Like he worked out a lot every single day to achieve that. And I don't know if it was Orange Theory or if it was something else, but
Well, the Orange Theory, they approach it with the heart rate. So
yeah,
they
if
right.
you're
So
doing
every
a certain
minute,
right,
right. So every minute that you're in orange or red, they have these zones with eight. I think it starts at 83% of your maximum heart rate. You get a point. So it's one splat point per minute. I don't know if the math works out 10,000 minutes in a week, but there's people. It's a 60-minute class, and they say your goal should be around 12 splat minutes for the entire duration of the class. And I struggle getting those 12 minutes, there are people in the class, and Denver is a very fit city. If you had noticed when you came to visit last year, there's people in there who do 37 minutes, and I swear I think they're on
We
cocaine.
did go for a walk, didn't we? That was a lot of fun. We went around the park. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very fit city. It's good.
I think your mic device changed. Something happened in the middle of your No, that's the mic you're using. Yeah, you're good. Just something happened where the audio changed, but it could be Skype. It could just be Skype quality.
Yeah, yours was cutting in and out a little bit. I didn't want to interrupt your flow or the live stream for all two of our viewers.
Do we have any viewers? Is that something you could see? I don't even know. One
I think
watching.
there's,
Is
I
that
think
you?
there's two. That's probably me. Yeah,
That's funny.
and
This
that's
is
just so I
fun.
can see it over here. Because I'm looking over here, I see myself, and it's probably 10 or 15 seconds behind.
We've
Let's see
been
here.
streaming for 30. You
I'm gonna
can
hold up my phone.
you can even increase the delay a little bit as well, by the way, which is kind of fun. We've got about 5 minutes to go. Were there
Right.
any questions on here that why don't we end it with this? Um, I mean, we've talked a little bit about failure and these kinds of things, and that's cool. Um, let's talk about success. There was one question in here. This one. No, this one. Could you have been rich? They asked Greg Churchill, DJ. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that by some level, Greg Churchill is not rich, because they're asking him the question, right? Whoever this gentleman is.
He's a DJ. If you didn't know.
And the answer is, I already am. I'm not money hungry, nor have I ever chased wealth. People's obsession with money sickens me. Okay. True wealth is derived from the things we can't buy. And we were talking about this, and again, I don't know how comfortable you are talking about this in such a public forum, but how do you correlate? Like, I'd like to talk about the financial aspect of it. Is how much do you correlate net worth, I guess maybe is a good metric, with success and with failure?
Dollar to dollar, not much. Not in the sense that I compare my net worth with
Buffett's.
you or with Warren Buffett's, right? That would be impractical. For my mindset, net wealth comes from freedom, right? How free are you to quit your job and leisurely look for the next one? How free are you to say, you know what, I want to try something out for a month. Maybe consider getting a loan and starting up a coffee shop that, I don't know, it's a bicycle coffee shop where you ride a bicycle with an espresso machine around. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's freedom. I think a lot of people, unfortunately, even in the United States, don't have the freedom to do that, and they're not wealthy in that sense. Am I wealthy compared to Warren Buffett or even some of my colleagues? Dollar to dollar, probably not. But I don't, to Greg Churchill's point, I don't chase the biggest house in the nicest neighborhood or always having a new car or need to be seen at the newest restaurant. I don't care, right? What I do care about is the ability to say, I want to go visit my dad who lives in Spain now, and be able to do that. Even if it's, in a ultra coach class, right? I have the freedom to do that, and I have enough money to do that, and I have enough. I'm lucky enough to, if, for example, the car broke down and I had to have $500 bill. That was a recent study that majority of Americans can't contend with a $500 unexpected bill. I have enough savings where I can just cover it and not have to worry about making the rent or house payment, right? And it's, how frugal I am. I tend to be very, very frugal.
By the way, I respect and envy you for it. I do. You say frugal. Right. I don't know. I don't even know if that's the right expression. I think maybe a better expression is maybe minimalist or
I don't even. I'm not
or
even a minimalist. So if you look in the background, since we're sharing my personal office, this Mac, it was purchased in 2009. I still use it for photo editing.
nice? Yeah, Macs are great.
Yeah.
Macs generally keep up, like you say, photo editing, right? Something maybe not as intense,
Well, it
but
used to be
yeah,
intense. It used to be in 2009. This was the top of the line Mac, and you needed that to run Aperture or Lightroom. And it's kind of slow compared to my work laptop, for example,
yeah,
or the new tools that the new was it the iMac Pro, the black one
yeah.
that looks so nice. Compared to that, it's dog slow. But I'd rather save money and not have to worry about that unexpected expense versus having a new toy, right? So I'd rather take that money that a lot of people would spend on a new toy. I'd rather put it aside just in case.
Okay.
Because one thing professionally we know, operating a system, is the system will fail. Your car will fail. You will eventually have to go to the emergency room and have this unexpected bill. That's one thing that you can expect. So why not just have a little bit aside?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm sounding a little preachy now, but that's my fear. I don't want to be in a position
Not at
where I
all.
can't.
I don't think. No,
I'm afraid of
I
being in
love
a
that you use
position
the
where
word
I can't.
freedom, right? Well, so
Yeah,
you kind of say essentially, I don't look at money as the primary indicator of success. I look at how free I am to buy something or do something that costs money. And as long as I am free to do the things that I want or need to do, and it doesn't come at the cost of something else like a late mortgage payment or something like this, then yeah, I'm in line with a successful, being a successful person at least financially, right? Um,
right.
and I think to myself, what would be the word for me? Is it freedom? Freedom's a good one. Freedom's a good one. Um, I almost want to think a little bit higher level. Like, what is it that freedom gives me, right? So for me, maybe the word is happiness. It's like, or contentment or satisfaction. Um, I agree with you. I don't. It's funny because I've changed over time. Like in my early 20s, I definitely made it a very specific thing that, for me, financial success means that I need to achieve certain numbers along the way, that I need to retire at a certain age, all these kinds of things. And, something funny happened along the way, and that's that I fell in love. I mean, literally that's what happened. And suddenly it wasn't a primary thing anymore. For me, it didn't matter as much. And now the source of joy for me wasn't necessarily what my financial statements look like, but it was literally just, being with my loved one and caring about them and wanting to be with them and all these kinds of things. Um, so now money's becoming more an instrument. Now we've got a big family and we've got children, So now for me, uh, I look at money now more, or at least financial gain more in terms of, um, can it get us the things that it needs to get us so that we can live happy lives, right? Whether that's having a housekeeper that cleans our house, or whether that's paying for some of the best schools that our kids can be in, or whether that's going out to dinner with my wife, or maybe something even fancier like going to Napa Valley like we did earlier this year. But things like this, right? So for me, having those things happen and not having them come at the cost of missing a mortgage payment,
Right.
something, right? Um,
Yeah.
right. So and yeah, and then that's, to me, that's where success happens, and that line falls in different places for different people, right? So it's not a fixed absolute. You have to have X in order to consider yourself successful. But to me, it's a freedom or
Right.
contentment, joy with your life, right? These kinds of things. So, all
Yeah.
right.
And thank you for not making fun of my 10-year-old computer.
Why would I? I do. What's the oldest computer I have? I have an old MacBook Pro. I think it was the second generation. I'm looking at it now, but I'm not going to pull it out of the
Yeah.
shelf. It's literally in a shelf with books, right? So I've got books, and then the MacBook Pro is just sitting there.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, but it's great. It's really good. It's really good tech. That one did
Yeah,
die. That one did die. I think the logic board is gone. I don't think it's the we had a new battery installed maybe like 2 years ago. It was making this really weird sound, and now it's just gone. And barely certain it's not the battery this time. So, but that's I mean, so I'm saying it's the second ever generation laptop with Intel in it, right? So we're talking about maybe 2003,
probably 7.
not
Now
even
Intel.
older, even older.
I remember I
Let's
had
look
a
it up.
MacBook or a PowerBook in 2005, and it was the last G4. So it must have been 2006 that the Intels came out. I want to say 2006.
Could be, could be.
Look it up.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
2007.
that's what I'm doing. So
I'm trying to
the
remember. I was working. I had switched jobs in Houston, and I picked up the G4. I think that was 2005.
they
And
they
that was the
they
last one.
yeah, exactly. No, so you're right. So the second generation is 2008. Yeah. So it's not as old as I thought it was. So it was about as old as your iMac
So,
probably. Because I didn't get it the moment it came out, right?
right.
I probably got it like 6 months or a year into its cycle, the product cycle.
Yeah.
So mine's probably from like 2009. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Ah, you're right. Man, why do I think that's older? I remember having conversations with some colleagues at
Tech
the
is like that.
time
Yeah.
about Intel coming to the Mac. Like that was such a huge thing when it was announced.
Right.
What happened to the PowerPC chip? What happened to all that architecture? Right, the RISC processor. Like they were just going in a different direction.
Mhm.
Intel won the battle. I mean, it's like there was all these little battles. Not that the Mac market was that big back then, but it's
No.
really. I just
I
remember
think the
thinking,
Intel
"Holy
that
crap!"
made it big. That and some of the new designs of the PowerBook, but of the MacBook Pro. But the Power Series chip is still out there. It's in the HPC land. It's a very expensive chip. IBM still sells them. It runs Linux, um, and for certain workloads, it's very interesting, but
Yeah,
not for ours.
yeah. All right, well, dude, we're out of time. It's 12:36. We're
Out of
actually
time.
6 minutes over. But hey, 30 seconds or less. How would you summarize how you feel about failure?
Uh, 30 seconds or less. I feel that it is a bittersweet pill that sometimes gives us very valuable lessons.
Yep. My version of that summary would my
Sometimes it
version of
just
it.
sucks.
Yeah, my version of that summary is, failure happens. Failure is when you fail to achieve something you set out to achieve, and it may or may not it may have consequences. That's what I call the unforgiving circumstances. You know, you will make mistakes that are going to have consequences, and you've got to live with those. Now the question becomes, what do you do with the experience? You can discard it, you can let it affect you negatively, or you could learn from it and try and turn it into a positive. The ideal is obviously the latter. Try and always turn it into a positive. Learn to not repeat the mistake, and hopefully, when all is said and done, you can reflect and say, wow, a lot of those failures, the net gain from those failures actually resulted in a much richer and positive life had they not happened. And I think that is what you can call success.
I like it.
All right. So
Also, happy birthday
go,
to my father
happy birthday. So what's
today,
his name?
Eduardo.
Eduardo.
Or Papa.
Papa. Happy birthday, Papa.
It's my dad. He's my dad, so you can call
Likely
him that. I don't know if he
likely
responds to
watching
me.
live from Spain.
Likely not. I just got a WhatsApp message with a picture of him and cake. So
Nice. Nice. I want to thank my wife who's sort of pissed I'm doing this. Not a big fan of live streaming anything from anywhere. Uh, this could be a
yeah,
huge failure. Uh, but hey, we'll learn from it. We'll learn from it. But anyway, so from Luis, from Daniel, thank you for watching, and until next time.
Thank you. See ya.